presidential race.
Thank you, Paul. I think this is very important, what happens in this country over the next few months. And so I'm here to just encourage us all to come together and do everything we possibly can to support electing Mitt Romney in November. We have had a very spirited primary in our party, as we normally do. And I know that there are some who still feel that there's things to do other than unite behind Governor Romney, but with all due respect, I want to encourage us all to do exactly that. As I think about where this country is headed, it scares me to death what my children and grandchildren, I have 2 grandsons, 2.5 and a half-year-old, and what's happening is just very, very scary. When I was at the state party, I shared the quote that Barack Obama made on the floor of the U.S. Senate. I think it was in 2006 when he was a U.S. Senator. The fact that we're here today to debate raising America's debt limit is a sign of leadership failure. Leadership means the buck stops here. Instead, Washington is shifting the burden of bad choices today onto the backs of our children and grandchildren. America has a debt problem and a failure of leadership. Americans deserve better.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Thank you. I think we need to take him at his word and send him back home. I think his vision for wherever home is. I made a little national news a few weeks ago. I might take the opportunity to tell you what really happened, because don't believe all that you hear in the media sometimes. As you know, when the sheriff's cold case posse downloaded the birth certificate off the White House website, they felt that it might be a forgery. Now, they had probable cause that it might be a forgery, but some people missed the probable and the might, and they just saw the word forgery. So I started getting thousands of emails and calls from people, many of them, with all due respect, asking me to do things that were impossible to do and outside the boundaries of the laws of the state of Arizona. For example, demand that the president produce or bring his original birth certificate and put it on my desk before he could get on the ballot in Arizona. No state is going to allow the original birth record of anyone out of its possession. Now, in fact, I even confirmed with the state of Arizona, Department of Vital Records, whose office I can see right outside my window there at the Capitol. And they confirmed, as I suspected they would, that I could not get my own original birth certificate on my desk. And so I really couldn't require that the original birth certificate be produced. But some of those that were writing me were asking, or brought to my attention, a law in the state of Hawaii that requires the Department of Health records there in Hawaii to do what's called a verification in lieu of a certified copy. You're not asking for a certified copy. You're asking for a verification in lieu of or instead of. And so that's what I did. I did not ask for a certified copy. We really weren't challenging the birth certificate in the sense of trying to keep the president off the ballot. We were simply asking another state government to officially confirm or verify to the Arizona state government that they have a birth record for Barack Hussein Obama II, born on August 4th, 1961. Now, when I called Hawaii to see if they really had this process, I got a hold of a deputy attorney general who said, yeah, we have this. It's pretty straightforward. You send in $5, fill out this form that you can download on the website. So I paid $5 out of my own pocket, downloaded the form, filled it out, and mailed it in. And about 4 weeks later, I hadn't heard anything. So I emailed the lady and I said, have you received the application, and how long does it take? I got an email back saying, oh, I didn't realize that you had sent it in. I'll check on it, make sure we have it. She emailed back, said, we have it. It takes a couple weeks at the most. So I thought another couple weeks go by and we'll have the verification, it'll all be done. Another 3 weeks goes by. Still haven't heard anything. So I called And she wasn't in, but she returned the call, and I wasn't in, and she spoke to my Deputy Secretary of State, Jim Drake. And her exact words to him were, "We are leaning towards rejecting your request." We were stunned, because it's right in the Hawaii state law that their department shall provide a verification in lieu of if requested by another state official from another state. We were stunned, and then they began to say, well, we're not sure that you have all of the right authority according to your own state law. So we started sending copies of Arizona statutes to prove that we were the chief elections officer in the state, and we maintained the list of people who qualified to be on the ballot. We had to certify that to each of the counties, so each county got the ballot right, and on and on and on. That still didn't suffice, and it was right about in that period of time that somehow the email chain kind of got sent around the country, and somebody picked up on it in a blog in New Jersey, and somebody picked up it at WorldNet Daily, and pretty soon I started getting calls, and I went on KFYI with Mike Broomhead. And my probable mistake was answering a hypothetical question of, if you don't get the verification, could he be left off the ballot? And I said, it was possible. Oh my goodness, I think I touched the third rail or something, you know. So we saw what happened. I apologized, and I have apologized and apologize again. I was certainly not trying to embarrass the state of Arizona. We were trying to do a very simple, straightforward thing. And sure enough, within another 36 hours of it exploding nationwide, we got the verification from Hawaii, and in my opinion, the case is closed. Now, I know there's a lot of people that are very skeptical as to whether the president was born in Hawaii. Personally, I actually believe he was. I actually think he was fibbing about being born in Kenya when he was trying to get into college and doing things like writing a book and on and on and on. So if there was weird stuff going on, I actually think it was happening back in his college days, because I think he has spent $1.5 or $2 million through attorneys to have all of the college records and all of that stuff sealed. So if you're spending money to seal something, that's probably where the hanky-panky was going on. If you're sending your attorneys out to Hawaii to get a copy of the certificate and posting it on the website, perhaps, or I actually think he was born in Hawaii. But all of that aside, we are not going to win this election based on whether he was born in Hawaii or not. We are going to win this election because our country has to change directions, or we are quickly headed to a point where we're not going to be able to recover. Now, the challenges that we have are not all at the feet of Barack Obama. The debt crisis in this country, as he pointed out in 2006, has happened under Republican and Democrat administrations. But the failing of this administration to not go into further debt and to get our economy going is stunning and as hypocritical as I think it could possibly be. The president said 3.5 years ago that if we don't have the economy turned around in 3 years, this is a one-term proposition, and I should probably go home. That might not be exact words, but the one-term proposition was a direct quote. Just a little bit about the debt crisis that we have. Did you know that it took from George Washington to Jimmy Carter almost 200 years and 38 presidents, I think it was, for our country to accumulate over that entire time $1 trillion in national debt? Over the next 3 presidents, Reagan, Bush 1, and Clinton, 20 years, it went from 1 billion to 5 billion. Trillion. Thank you. So 1 trillion of national debt in almost 200 years, 38 presidents. 3 presidents and 20 years later, it goes from 1 to 5. Under George W. Bush alone, it went from, in 8 years, 5 to 10. And in about 3.5 years, it's gone from 10 to 16. Now, when it was at $10 trillion, a person entering the workforce, coming out of college, high school, trade school, whatever it is, each of those individuals in our country would have to pay $172,000 during their career just to pay the interest on the national debt when it was $10 trillion. It's now at 16, and if President Obama's budgets continue for the remainder of a second term, if he gets it, and what that will cause in the years thereafter. His own Office of Management budget says that within 7 or 8 years, the national debt will be $30 trillion. At that point, each person entering the workforce is not going to have to pay $172,000 during their working career to pay the interest on the national debt. It'll be over $510,000 each. They will not be able to afford it. We are quickly on the verge of becoming Greece or Spain or any one of a number of countries who will not be able to sustain the debt level. So I just encourage us all to come together and do everything we can between now and November 6th to elect Mitt Romney President of the United States. Now, it's been reported I am one of the co-chairs, and the Democrats are beating me up because I'm one of the co-chairs of Mitt's campaign in Arizona, and I'm the Secretary of State. That has been done by Secretaries of State from both parties in multiple states, including Arizona, for years. It's more of a ceremonial position as opposed to I'm not working on his campaign on a day-to-day basis, but he asked me if I would endorse him a year and a half ago, and I did, because I felt, and I don't endorse many people, especially in primaries, but I felt strongly enough that he, given his business background and his experience in turning things around, was the person that we needed. Now, if Rick Santorum or Ron Paul or Newt Gingrich or anyone, Rick Perry or anyone of other, Michelle Bachmann, was sitting here tonight as our probable nominee, I would be suggesting the same thing, that we need to be uniting behind them as well. But I think it's pretty clear to most of us, I hope, that Governor Romney will be our nominee, and I just encourage each of you to do everything you can, in addition to what you're going to do in this district for the state offices, to ensure that Governor Romney is elected. Now, it was suggested that maybe we could leave with a or an action item. If you are a PC in LD12, I'm told that people are having trouble figuring out how to get signs, and that they can only be gotten through the website. If you're a PC, I ask you to order one for yourself and order 1 or 2 extras, and be kind of the warehouse or the inventory of some signs for Governor Romney, to make sure that the people of this area, it does matter when people see things in the yards of people that they trust. And every one of you in this room is in that position in the minds of dozens, scores, probably hundreds of other people. And it matters when other people know how you feel. That's why I did the endorsement myself. Yes, in 2010, I had taken the position that I wasn't going to do endorsements as the Secretary of State. And even though I took that position, my Democrat opponents beat me up because I had done endorsements even before I ran for Secretary of State. So I realized that I was darned if I did and darned if I didn't. And so this year I felt strongly enough that I made the endorsement. And if you know anything about how elections work in Arizona, most of it happens at the county levels. When a statewide election occurs, we really have 15 elections in each county, and our office never puts a voter on the rolls, never takes anyone off the rolls. That's the county recorder. Our office never lays out a ballot, touches a ballot, prints a ballot, counts a ballot. That's all the county elections department. We do a few things as far as after the counties report their results to us, we accumulate, we add them up together. It's simply a mathematical thing to say what the numbers are for the statewide. And we have a few, we help them test the machines to make sure the machines are working before they use them in election, and on and on and on. But we're going to make sure that the election is run straight up, not in favor of any party or any candidate. And so our challenge and my request to you today is to let's make sure that Arizona goes for Governor Romney, and that Mitt Romney is the next President of the United States. Thank you very much.